It is time to hit social media for hashtags. For that, we'd like to welcome in Landon Swan, the co-founder of LikeFolio.com, and we have Fast Market contributor Jenny Horn with us as well. And we're taking a look at Starbucks, Jenny.
So Kevin, I see pink, so that's why I'm wearing pink, to match the Pepto-Bismol.
Look, it's like a theme. Jenny wears pink on that.
Exactly. Maybe I should be wearing red, or green actually would be in our best fit.
I look at this screen, my stomach feels better.
That's good. But Starbucks, of course, they have earnings after the bell tomorrow. There's so many different stories with Starbucks. It's kind of a lot to unpack here. Of course, we're going to talk about their exposure with Luckin Coffee, their exposure to the coronavirus. I mean, China is their second biggest market.
Right.
But when you look on social media this morning, the overwhelmingly huge story still, which surprised me, is the app. I mean, you talk about a loyal customer base. People love this app. People go crazy over the app, and it's actually now 20% of all of their total transactions. So it seems like the app has been a really good thing for Starbucks. Of course, they were up over 40% in 2019. This is a stock that's done really well, but it just surprises me that people are still so happy with this app because it's not necessarily anything new. So I wanted to bring in our first tweet because it goes right into Landon's data actually, which is from Alexandra, and it says, the Starbucks order ahead option on the app is heaven sent. I put in my order when I'm almost there, and by the time I get there, my drink is waiting for me. And I don't have to speak to a single person during the whole process. So Landon, I know you have data specific to their app, and I'm just kind of wondering here, because this app, again, isn't new, and people are still so bullish on the app. And you see this person, I love that they say they don't have to talk to anyone.
Yeah, they got a little antisocial thing going there. I feel that if you haven't had your coffee yet, maybe you don't want to talk to anybody. But yeah, the app is doing fantastic. In fact, if you look at the top mobile payment apps in the world, Starbucks is number 2 to Apple Pay. So they are absolutely killing it. They've got 25 million users. And you can see when people are talking about using that app, for the Starbucks mobile app, has been up tremendously since 2012, on a very nice uptrend here. And it's driving customer loyalty. You mentioned, the pickup that the woman on the tweet talked about. They actually just opened a new store. They're trying out a concept in New York where it's pickup only. So just sort of just go get it. You can't linger, can't hang around and sit on your laptop on the comfortable couches. It's probably a smart move given the rent in New York, but they're trying that out, and I think it just goes to just their overall trend of making people happy. This is what they want. Give it to them, and it's so cool to be able to order, like you said, or like the tweet said, just order ahead and go pick it up. So that's definitely big for them.
Landon, this stock is down 3.9%. So clearly, on a short-term basis, China has come into this, discussion today because that's where they get their growth. Right? I mean, if you look at the metrics on Starbucks, China is where they're growing. They're really not growing that much in the U.S. anymore. So today's movement is definitely about China, but I certainly understand how this is becoming, it's funny that I say this, less and less of a coffee company and more of a tech company.
Right. That's a good point. And, I'm not an investor. I don't have any shares right now, but how much of a bummer would that be to have shares of a good company and then this random virus sends your stock down 4%? I think their beta is half, like 0.5. So this isn't a market move that's causing a sell-off in Starbucks. It's all about that virus, and that's just terrible for shareholders. But yeah, it's obviously the company's doing well in the U.S. Growth is big in China, and so this is going to stifle that, no doubt. Side note, they have earnings tomorrow after the bell. Last quarter, we had their revenue based on purchase intent at up 7%, and that's what they came in at. This quarter, we've got them up 9%. I think the street's calling for 8%. So we're pretty much right in line. We don't see a big surprise coming either way. Everything on our metrics is pointing sort of as priced right, valued correctly here. So if I were forced to trade this, I'd probably be doing some premium selling.
Landon, when I think of the strongest brands in the world, I think of Apple, I think of McDonald's, I think of Starbucks. Starbucks definitely in that. So talk to me a little bit about the happiness. You mentioned some of the loyalty surrounding this company. And also, as they're transitioning and really, they don't necessarily pray, but they really take advantage of the fact that people are pretty routine in the morning and they like the convenience and the efficiency of grabbing their coffee on the go. How much are they growing in terms of also accompanying that coffee with a breakfast sandwich?
Yeah, so they've got a very loyal customer base, and a lot of that has to do with the happiness. People are getting what they want. They're also on trend. I think that last time Megan was on the show, she talked about their oat milk and their plant-based options. We've got that people ordering plant-based off of a menu up 19% year over year, and plant-based overall plus 130% year over year. So they're very on trend. And of course, when we talk about purchase intent mentions, which is what this chart is showing, that is the number of people going into a store. It's not the number of items or the dollar value that they're selling. And so last quarter in their report, their sales were up. I think their comp sales were up about 5%. 2% of that was from the number of transactions, which is what we're measuring. That's what we're talking about when I say they're up about 9% year over year. And then the ticket size is the other 3%. And so that's something that we really can't measure, but I think that speaks to the loyalty of the customer and the happiness in that not only are they going in there to get what they want, but also they're finding new things / willing to pay more for those products. So ability to get more people in the store is fantastic, and then ability to get more money out of each customer is also fantastic.
I can speak, Landon. I can speak to Jenny Horn's ticket size. It's not going down. Let me tell you, if she's indicative of the market in general, these prices aren't going down.
It's so true. And for some reason, it's like when you order on the app, you have like loose consciousness of how much you're spending.
Would you like to throw in something?
Yeah,
of course I would.
Of course. And I'm actually curious, Landon, if your data shows that because when you order on the app, it seems like it's not even your money. I mean, do you see that people are spending more on the app because you're not actually pulling out your credit card? I mean, it's the craziest thing.
We can't really measure how much people are spending, but I know the phenomenon that you're talking about. It's just, I mean, if you don't actually have to hand them any cash, no credit card, it's just being charged automatically, then yeah, sure, why not click that extra button? And then you're happier when you pick it up because you've already paid and you'll see your credit card statement later in the month. No big deal. So yeah, I think that's very good. And their app is driving so many sales. It's driving loyalty, but it's driving more sales and larger ticket prices, as Kevin says. So yeah, Starbucks is on the right trend here.
Yeah, for you two young guys, the ouch comes way down the road when you see the credit card bill at the end of the month.
It does. And I saw something funny that this earnings will encompass the pumpkin spice latte sales. So this is like the pumpkin spice season or whatever. I'm not on trend with that stuff.
Pumpkin spice season.
Yeah, those are a pretty big deal.
There's 3 words Kevin Hinks has never said.
Well, the one thing Starbucks really definitely does too is the fact that they have you prepay and preload money in there. So if you're next door to a Dunkin' and you've already got money in Starbucks, of course you're going to go to Starbucks. So I think that's not something that we've talked about.
Totally. But to go back to their move today, of course, this is unpleasant news for Starbucks. And that goes into our next tweet, which says, going to be interesting on the guidance that some of the retailers and tech names give during earnings starting this week. Gauge from impacts out of China. So I mentioned Luckin Coffee earlier. This is a name we haven't even brought up. Of course, the coronavirus is the complete negative story for them today.
Right.
But do you think there's any impact with the competition getting stiffer in China? I mean, Luckin Coffee is growing. This won't weigh on their bottom line yet, but it could potentially in the future.
Luckin Coffee is growing.
Say that 5 times fast, yeah.
Man. But so is Starbucks. And Starbucks seems to be it's like a Home Depot Lowe's kind of thing.
Right.
Both are good companies, but clearly one is head and shoulders above the other one and still growing. I mean, the Starbucks numbers say the growth in China is still growing. So remember, there's a massive amount of people in China. So.
Well, and as Landon says, it's on brand, it's on trend.
Yes.
But Landon, kind of coming back to looking ahead, obviously earnings won't actually be a true earnings play until tomorrow, as it's after the close tomorrow. But Landon, when we're talking about trading Starbucks, how much does this pullback today maybe pivot one way or another, your call, as you got the stock on, a 3.75% discount relative to where it was just on Friday?
Yeah, honestly, I think that the fact that the move is today is good news for earnings traders, because you don't want to play an earnings event and then have something like this virus cause you to lose money. So if you're playing earnings, you want to do it because you think you have an inside track on the revenue or the earnings themselves, not some random event like a virus in China. So I like that we're kind of getting this out of the way. We're setting a new price. Now we're at 89 instead of 92 or 93. And this stock's been on a fantastic run since November. So this pullback is it's causing a little bit of pain, but it's also you're giving money back that you earned over the last few months. Now, the interesting thing is the market maker move is about 3.7, and that's what the stock has moved today. So it's wild that this event can cause an earnings type sized move the day before earnings. So when we look at our data, we're pretty much in line with the street right now. If you're going to go long, obviously it's nice to get a sell-off before that. But if you're talking about the earnings play specifically, our data is pretty much in line. So if anything, I would be selling premium, maybe going with a neutral strategy. And I'm a little bit surprised that the move today is the same as the market maker move for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think this gives you a rare opportunity to play what Landon said. It moved. It just made the expected move. the day before earnings. So this is going to be one where I think it skews the attitude you have on this because you've already kind of seen the downside move. And I don't think the earnings is into this move at all. This is pure China and uncertainty that you see over the whole market. And Landon made another good point. The beta on this move for Starbucks is, think about it. If the S&P's down 1.5%, this is down almost 4%. So, I mean, a big move here. So all these China-related moves are moving bigger than the overall indices. I think it's an opportunity, frankly.
Hold that thought, Kevin. Landon, we'll leave it there. Great stuff as always. And we're going to be taking a look at trading it just after the break. Thanks to Jenny as well.